I'm confident that we've never met, yet you and I have had many of the same experiences. Indeed, in many ways, you and I are very similar in our upbringings. More specifically, you, me, and every other guy watching this have all been conditioned to tolerate more disrespect in relationships than we should. From a young age, society has trained us to endure disrespect from women in our lives, whether it's cleverly hidden insults at happy hour, eye rolls at the beach, or even subtle and demeaning manners behind closed doors. We've been told to brush it off, to be patient, and to show empathy, and even to let it slide for the sake of peace. Happy wife, happy life, am I right? Hi, I'm Todd. I'm a psychologist and author who supports men in relationships and life, and thanks for stopping by. I hope that my content earns your subscription. In this video playlist, my videos will come straight out of Chapter 1 of my book, Rules of Engagement, and Chapter 1 is titled, Disrespect Ends Here. This video is the Chapter 1 introduction, and the next 10 videos in this playbook will break down the full chapter content in smaller parts. Each chapter of the book starts with an introduction, just like the content in this video, that sets the stage for the full chapter content. Each one is followed by 10 theory and research-based lessons. So I'll be doing the same thing here in video form exactly as it's written in the book. And in the coming weeks, I'll release playlists for all 14 chapters of the book with its subsequent 10 parts. I'm offering the full book this way because, let's be honest, nobody wants to buy a self-published book from a stranger that they don't know about and don't care about. And I would rather earn your trust by giving you the actual full content first. So think of this as the full audiobook, released one piece at a time, exactly as I wrote it. So I'm here to confirm with evidence that what you have known all along, but no one else has had the balls to put into 500 pages with solid research behind it. Everything you were taught and shamed for questioning and dating and relationships was a lie. Because tolerating disrespect by way of silence or inaction is neither patient nor masculine. It's weak. And the irony is that although women demand masculine presence and effort, they are often extremely intolerant of being told no. So you're told to shut your fucking pie hole, right? And then you're not disrespected because you don't hold your ground. I get it. It's a no-win situation. But starting right here in the chapter introduction, I want you to understand that ultimately, the more disrespect that you disregard in all of its subtle forms in blazes of glory, the more you indicate to others that your boundaries don't matter and that your needs are secondary to hers. From this very first video forward, I'll help you to understand why tolerating disrespect is not only damaging to your relationships, it's also a direct assault on your entire masculine existence. But let's back up for just a bit, lest I give too much too soon, which will become much funnier in future videos as you continue watching. In relationships, respect is the foundation of everything, and that's why having zero tolerance for disrespect is our opening chapter. And it's why I've given it so much context and space throughout this book. Your expectation for respect in dating and relationships should be a non-negotiable requirement, and it should be outright expressed as such. Every time you accept less than full respect from women, regardless of how long you've known them, you're sending them the wrong message. To that end, in this chapter, we'll learn through social learning theory that when you tolerate even minor disrespect, you're essentially training her to repeat it. Instances of disrespect, no matter how small, are a reflection of how you allow yourself to be treated. It doesn't matter when or where it happens. Tolerating disrespect, even once, trains her to expect more of the same leniency. And research studies inform us that the longer you tolerate it, the more it escalates with a bigger insult or a more cutting comment until eventually a toxic pattern forms that threatens the relationship and your entire self. Coming up, I'll demonstrate that reports from emotional abuse research validate that even subtle digs in passive contempt, when repeated, can rewire your self-perception and erode your confidence. You may think that overlooking disrespect or giving her the benefit of the doubt makes you open-minded and lenient. But the truth is, you're undermining your own self-worth. You're sending a message that your value can be bargained for and that your boundaries are optional. In this chapter, I'll also address the psychological and emotional consequences of letting disrespect fester. For example, social compliance theory reveals that small violations, once they're allowed, snowball into behavioral patterns that you never agreed to but silently endorsed. And I'll unpack the damaging effects of being emotionally reactive to her disrespect instead of assertively enforcing your boundaries. Within this chapter, chapter 1, you'll learn that relationship research provides evidence that respect, even more than attraction and political alignment, is a primary predictor of relationship longevity. I've also included reviews of research on assertiveness, self-regulation, and self-esteem, some of the very cornerstones that protect you from emotional manipulation. For example, emotion regulation research shows that silence is not noble. It's corrosive, and suppressing your frustration only guarantees a delayed explosion down the road. Keep in mind that this chapter is not about enforcing boundaries to assert control or dominance, but about establishing or reclaiming your self-respect and maintaining your identity when disrespect arises. By way of self-fulfilling prophecy, I'll make it painfully clear that how you allow yourself to be treated teaches her exactly what you believe you're worth. Because when you allow disrespect to seep into your relationships, you're teaching both of you that you're not worth defending. And when you don't defend yourself, you start believing that your needs don't matter and that you're somehow unworthy of love unless you prioritize her wishes or even her poor behaviors. That belief is what keeps a lot of men stuck. But the information in this chapter will teach you how to break free from that, from the destructive cycle, by showing you how to stand firm in your masculine frame. As we proceed through this first chapter and all of the rest that follow, always know that your self-identity is a direct reflection of how you allow others to treat you. When you tolerate disrespect, you diminish yourself, and over time, the disrespect becomes a part of who you are. It's like an infection that trickles into your character, slowly stripping you of your self-worth until you don't even recognize the man you've become. But once you stop tolerating disrespect, you reclaim your confidence in your value. You regain control over how you're treated, and you shift the dynamic from one of appeasement to one of respect without apology. This chapter will also teach you the value of setting boundaries that are not negotiable. I'm talking about boundaries backed by the kind of unshakable self-worth that demands respect. We'll also dive into other psychological theories as they relate to disrespect in dating and relationships, including reciprocity and cognitive dissonance. For example, you'll learn why people stay in disrespectful relationships and why it's not your job to fix someone else's emotional mess. I'll break down how to recognize emotional manipulation and why you should stop apologizing for having standards, and how to use self-discipline to build your personal resilience. Within some of the frame of evidence-based research, you'll also discover why respecting yourself first is essential to ensuring the respect of others, and why standing firm in your masculinity strengthens the bond in any relationship. But be very aware that enforcing respect by way of boundaries is not always easy. I understand. It will trigger women. It will create friction, and there's a very good chance that she'll let you know what a controlling piece of shit you are. But that's not entirely bad, because friction is where people either grow or she exposes herself as a woman who needs to go live somewhere else without you. So by the end of this chapter, you'll no longer hesitate to define, draw, and hold your line of disrespect. You'll feel more comfortable for setting expectations and for prioritizing your own emotional health. So no more bending over backwards to accommodate her needs at the expense of your own. Start demanding the treatment you deserve, and then you'll force the people around you, especially the women, to either step up or step out. And if they don't step out, you do. You'll simply walk away when necessary, making it crystal clear that you will never tolerate disrespect. Because this is about becoming the man you were always meant to be. A man who knows his value, who stands tall in his convictions, and refuses to let anyone disrespect him. So I hope you'll stick around for part 1 of chapter 1. That's coming up next, and in this playlist in which I'll break down social learning theory, again, in part 1 coming up, and show exactly how disrespect is learned and repeated. And that video will be queued up here in this playlist, so as we continue to move through, hopefully it's a smooth transition for you. Thank you, and I'll see you next time.